Greetings and welcome to Know Your Power, to create. And in this case, we're going back to South Africa for part 2 of our Africa Connection Through Art. I'm Devorah Crable, and today I have a very dear friend joining me who's doing extraordinary work in the art field. She has a big mission, a huge vision. She is connecting artists globally, putting the spotlight on works created by African artists with a special focus on South African artists, which is where she hails from. I want to welcome to Know Your Power, my dear friend, Soraya Sheppard, the founder and CEO of Color Me Africa. Welcome.
Thank you so much, Deborah. Thank you for having us. Thank you for having this incredible platform.
Let's start off with people gaining a better understanding of what is Color Me Africa.
Color Me Africa, when you look at the logo, was to express the beauty, the texture, the vibrancy, the diversity, the sounds, the sights of our incredible continent.
And you have a very special project that you're working on now called The Good Work. Tell us about this program that you've initiated here.
We wanted to bring the message of the good work that artists bring to the world. In my opinion, artists are the true messengers of our humanity. And so we know that they went through a really tough time during this 2020 COVID period. And they're always challenged anyway, but this really knocked them hard. And more artists were saying, we want to bring a message of hope. And we want to lift people up by the work we create. And even just sharing that with you, I'm moved by that. And it so excited me. And they came up with the slogan, The Good Work. And that's where it all started. And so we're going to be doing a series of that coming out of Africa, showing you the good work by artists and the communities that they represent. And we're bringing that to the American audience and the global audience.
And on April the 3rd, you will be bringing in Watercolorists, which I found very interesting because in just doing minimal research, it's a very delicate art form that you don't find too often coming out of Africa. Tell us about the significance of the focus on the watercolor artist and why you made that choice to bring their work up and lift it up now.
You know, I was moved by the watercolors from when I met Edward. And I found it fascinating because that is a medium that I never got to see. And I know when I was a student in school, we didn't have art instruction, but I loved, my mom always encouraged us to play with art and play with color. And then I filed away this guy that I met, Edward, and his incredible work in 2015. I knew one day I'm going to reach out to him. And then I met Johnathan in our last exhibition. He was introduced to me by one of the artists we worked with. And when he shared his story, I was blown away by the fact that he's the only artist in Ghana in this medium. And Edward will tell you himself, I couldn't find any other artists in this medium.
Joining us right now, Edward and Johnathan, welcome to Know Your Power.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All righty. Johnathan, since I saw you up on the screen there, I can start with you. Can you tell us a little bit more about you and why you have chosen watercolor as one of your mediums of choice?
Yeah, thank you very much. I was born in Ghana, a suburb of the capital city called Ashima. Growing up and knowing about art and other mediums, I realized that watercolor is not very common in the Ghanaian art scene, and also in most parts of Africa, people were not doing watercolor. So I realized that this is something I need to preach out the good works that I'll be able to showcase that I can do it for others to see that it is possible for a Black person to be able to do watercolor, because watercolor is usually done by the whites outside Africa. and the Chinese people as well.
Edward, I would like to hop over to you and offer you the same question. Why watercolor? Why do you use it? And why is it a medium of choice?
I also work with other mediums, but the watercolors are very special. They are the first love that I had. I mean, from the beginning, I used to love watercolors, even when I was still very, very young. Watercolors for me, it's an expression. It's a freedom. It's not the same like any other medium. The way it gives me those the details that I'm getting in watercolors, I don't get from other mediums. So I really love watercolors so much because, you know, when you create, they also help you to create a painting. You know, that's the thing that makes me to love it. And there are certain mediums that you use when you paint, when I paint, especially when I want to say something that is so horrific or something that is so hard, the message that is not simple. I can't use watercolors. Watercolors always, for me, is a positive messages on it.
Only positive messages. Interesting, because
Yes.
I was feeling that as well for both of you, because we're living in such difficult times now. And the watercolors are very soft, they're very delicate, they make you smile. But I can imagine the application of it can also paint a different portrait. So Johnathan, for you, as I pull up some of your images here, do you appreciate the softness, and can it give you the articulation, the harshness of the times as well, depending on the application?
Yes, I vary my application because sometimes watercolor has a lot of varieties. It gives you the opportunity to be hard or flexible. So sometimes, depending on the nature of the work that I'm to do, it tells me the approach to follow, either to be hard or to be soft. In most cases, in my landscapes, you will see that I like to create softer applications at the background, going into the horizon. And then towards the foreground, they become very hard. It helps me to create perspective in my watercolor application. So I work with both hard and soft edges.
Yes.
So watercolor allows me the liberty to do what it pleases me to do.
And Edward, you give very soft, muted images in your work. Tell us about your technique.
Mostly in my technique, I also use a little bit of, watercolor pencils. Mm-hmm. I also put them in there just to get those little strokes in. But most of the time, I like using lots of water on the paper so that, you know, the color can flow, the color can create itself. As you can see on the mother and the child going to the crash, you can see at the background, I've used lots of water in order to create a background. I don't want to create it with my own brush. I want the water and the color to create, the painting.
So Soraya, coming up on April the 3rd, you have the official opening of this exhibition, The Good Work.
The official opening will be the 3rd of April, next Saturday. And we will be streaming live on Facebook as well as through Zoom. So you can choose either platform to connect. It's also, we're a nonprofit organization, and we do depend on our donors and our supporters. So we do have a small fee if you can make a donation. We start at 2:00, and then we may have some surprises in between.
Oh, we love surprises.
There'll be a catalog of all the works. So this is a unique experience, a unique opportunity to be able to own something by these incredible artists. And we'll send the catalogs out with the invitation.
Soraya, Edward, and Johnathan, I want to thank you again for sharing your artwork and your images and your spirit. So thank you for joining us on Know Your Power.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.